The Apache tribe is one of the most well-known and fierce warrior cultures in North American history. Living primarily in the southwestern United States, particularly in Arizona and New Mexico, they developed remarkable survival skills in the harsh desert landscapes. They were known for their mobility, intelligence, and relentless fighting spirit, making them a fearsome enemy. Apache warriors were trained from a young age to become experts in tracking, hunting, and combat. Their skills in guerrilla warfare made them incredibly difficult to defeat. They would use the terrain to their advantage, ambushing their enemies and disappearing into the wilderness after striking. In battle, the Apache were swift and decisive. They used hit-and-run tactics to disorient their enemies, making it hard for the opponent to predict their next move. It was this ability to adapt and use the environment to their advantage that made them formidable in battle. Throughout history, the Apache fought many battles against both the Mexican and American forces. One of their most famous leaders, Geronimo, became a symbol of resistance against the U.S. government. Geronimo led his warriors in numerous battles, evading capture for many years. The Apache's resistance was relentless, and despite being outnumbered, they fought fiercely to protect their land and way of life. The most significant Apache resistance occurred during the Apache Wars, which lasted from the 1840s to the 1880s. Geronimo's surrender in 1886 marked the end of the Apache resistance, but left behind a legacy of bravery and defiance. The Sioux, also known as the Lakota, Nakota, and Dakota, were one of the most powerful Native American tribes in the Great Plains region. Their reputation as fierce warriors was enhanced by their expert horsemanship and hunting skills, particularly their ability to hunt buffalo, which was vital to their survival. The buffalo was central to Sioux culture, providing food, clothing, tools, and even shelter. The Sioux revered the buffalo, considering it a sacred animal. Their hunting techniques were developed over centuries, and they became experts in tracking and hunting these large, powerful animals. The Sioux used every part of the buffalo to ensure nothing went to waste. The meat was consumed, the hides were used for clothing and tents, and the bones were fashioned into tools. This deep connection with nature and respect for animals played a significant role in their way of life. The Sioux were known for their warrior spirit and bravery in battle. Their warriors were highly skilled in hand-to-hand combat and horseback fighting. They used their knowledge of the land to launch surprise attacks and ambush their enemies. One of the most famous leaders of the Sioux, Sitting Bull, is remembered for his leadership during the Battle of Little Bighorn in 1876, where the Sioux, along with Cheyenne warriors, defeated General Custer's forces. The Sioux fought fiercely to protect their lands and culture, particularly during the Indian Wars and the period of forced relocation to reservations. Despite the U.S. government's efforts to suppress them, the Sioux maintained their resistance for many years. The Cheyenne were a strong and influential tribe, originally from the Great Lakes area before migrating to the Great Plains. Known for their military prowess and their strategic alliances with other tribes, the Cheyenne played a key role in the resistance against European American settlers. Cheyenne warriors were trained from an early age in various aspects of combat, including the use of bows and arrows, spears, and later rifles. They were highly skilled in battle tactics and often used surprise attacks and ambushes. The Cheyenne were known for their bravery and valor, and their warriors were considered some of the fiercest fighters on the plains. The Cheyenne also had a strong spiritual connection to their culture and believed that their warrior skills were a gift from the Creator. This spiritual connection fueled their commitment to protecting their lands and their way of life from outside threats. During the Indian Wars, the Cheyenne were involved in several significant battles. One of the most notable was the Sand Creek Massacre in 1864, where a peaceful Cheyenne village was attacked by the U.S. Army, leading to the deaths of over 150 Cheyenne men, women, and children. This massacre galvanized the Cheyennes' resolve to resist further encroachment. Their most famous leader, Chief Black Kettle, played a crucial role in advocating for peace, though the Cheyenne were forced into multiple battles to defend their land and people. The Cheyennes' resilience in battle made them one of the most respected warrior cultures on the plains. The Comanche were renowned as the fiercest and most skilled horse warriors of the Great Plains. Their ability to ride and fight on horseback made them nearly invincible in battle. The Comanche were also highly skilled in guerrilla warfare, using surprise attacks and swift retreats to overwhelm their enemies. The Comanche perfected the art of hit-and-run tactics, attacking their enemies quickly and then retreating before the enemy had a chance to retaliate. Their ability to strike from unexpected directions and disappear into the vast plains made them one of the most feared tribes by both settlers and the U.S. Army. The Comanche were also highly skilled at raiding. They would often raid settlements, stealing horses and livestock, which was critical to their nomadic lifestyle. This made them formidable opponents, as they were always well-equipped and capable of surviving in harsh conditions. Under the leadership of Quanah Parker, the last great Comanche chief, the tribe became a dominant force in the region. Quanah Parker led successful raids against U.S. military forces and settler communities, earning a reputation for his military genius. However, as the U.S. military began to intensify its efforts to subdue the Comanche, their way of life was increasingly threatened. Despite the eventual defeat of the Comanche, their legacy as masters of guerrilla warfare and fearless horsemen remains a significant part of their history. The Nez Perce, known for their peaceful nature and agricultural skills, were one of the most respected tribes in the Pacific Northwest. However, their history is also marked by conflict, particularly the Nez Perce War of 1877, when the tribe resisted the U.S. Army's attempts to force them onto a reservation. Unlike many other tribes that relied heavily on horse-based warfare, the Nez Perce were known for their exceptional skill in fighting on foot. They utilized the landscape of the Pacific Northwest to their advantage, using the dense forests and rugged terrain to evade capture by the U.S. Army. The Nez Perce were also known for their diplomatic skills, often trying to avoid conflict and find peaceful resolutions to disputes. However, when forced into a corner, they demonstrated remarkable resilience and military skill in defending their land. The Nez Perce War of 1877 was one of the most significant events in Nez Perce history. Chief Joseph, the leader of the tribe, led his people in a desperate attempt to escape to Canada, hoping to avoid the reservation system. Despite their bravery and tactical brilliance, the Nez Perce were eventually forced to surrender after a series of grueling battles, marking the end of their resistance. Chief Joseph's surrender and his famous words, "I will fight no more forever," symbolized the heartbreaking conclusion of the Nez Perce struggle for freedom. The Cherokee, originally from the southeastern United States, are known for their advanced culture and government system. They were among the first tribes to adopt European-style farming, but their history is also marked by violent conflict, particularly during the Trail of Tears. The Cherokee were skilled warriors, but they also developed a sophisticated political and social structure. They had a written language, a formal government, and a strong sense of community. They lived in permanent villages and practiced agriculture, growing crops like corn, beans, and squash. In battle, the Cherokee were formidable opponents. They employed ambush tactics and were excellent at using the terrain to their advantage. However, their greatest struggle came when the U.S. government sought to remove them from their ancestral lands. The forced relocation of the Cherokee to Indian Territory, known as the Trail of Tears, is one of the darkest chapters in U.S. history, despite the Cherokee's efforts to resist. Including legal battles in the U.S. Supreme Court, they were eventually forced to leave their homes. Thousands of Cherokee died during the grueling journey westward, marking a tragic loss for the tribe. The Iroquois Confederacy, consisting of 6 nations: Mohawk, Oneida, Onondaga, Cayuga, Seneca, and Tuscarora, was one of the most powerful and influential political and military alliances in North America. They were known for their strategic diplomacy, strong military tactics, and ability to unite several tribes into a single, cohesive force. The Iroquois were skilled in both conventional and guerrilla warfare. They used stealth and surprise attacks, often ambushing their enemies during key moments. Their warriors were highly disciplined, and their ability to strike fear into their enemies was unparalleled. The Iroquois were also known for their use of diplomacy to form strategic alliances. During the colonial period, they played a key role in the balance of power between the French and English. During the American Revolution, the Iroquois Confederacy was deeply divided. While some nations sided with the British, others supported the Americans. The division within the Confederacy ultimately weakened their power and influence, leading to their downfall. Despite this, the Iroquois Confederacy remains a testament to the power of unity and diplomacy among Native American tribes. The Seminole tribe, native to the swamps and forests of Florida, is known for its fierce resistance to U.S. forces. The Seminole Wars, particularly the Second and Third Seminole Wars, were among the longest and costliest conflicts for the U.S. Army. The Seminole were masters of swamp warfare, using their knowledge of the land to their advantage. They used guerrilla tactics, ambushing U.S. forces and disappearing into the swamps, making it incredibly difficult for the U.S. Army to subdue them. The Seminole also fought for their land and way of life, resisting forced relocation to Indian territory. Their resilience and determination earned them a reputation as one of the most difficult tribes for the U.S. Army to defeat. One of the most famous leaders of the Seminole was Osceola, who led his people in a fierce resistance against the U.S. Army. Despite being captured under a flag of truce, Osceola became a symbol of Seminole resistance and is remembered as one of the greatest Native American leaders. The Lakota Sioux, one of the most well-known tribes in Native American history, were renowned for their strength, bravery, and cultural significance. As one of the tribes within the larger Sioux Nation, the Lakota were the heart of the Plains culture, living in the vast, open landscapes of the American Midwest. The Lakota were fierce warriors, skilled in hunting, horseback riding, and combat. Their success in battle was attributed to their mastery of horsemanship and their ability to live off the land. The Lakota also emphasized bravery and honor, with warriors seeking to prove their courage through acts of heroism. One of the most revered aspects of their warrior culture was the concept of counting coup, where warriors would touch an enemy in battle without killing them, demonstrating their bravery. The Lakota warriors also carried weapons such as the bow and arrow, and later, firearms, which they used in their constant defense of their land. The Lakota Sioux's most famous victory came in the Battle of Little Bighorn in 1876, also known as Custer's Last Stand, led by the great Lakota chief Sitting Bull and the warrior Crazy Horse. The Lakota, along with Cheyenne allies, defeated General George Armstrong Custer's forces in one of the most significant battles in Native American history. This victory was symbolic not only for the Lakota, but for many Native American tribes who had been resisting U.S. encroachment on their lands. Sitting Bull's leadership during this time became legendary, and the battle remains a point of pride for the Lakota to this day. Despite their bravery, the Lakota were eventually forced onto reservations by the U.S. government, and their traditional way of life was deeply affected. The decline of the buffalo, a vital part of their economy and culture, further devastated the Lakota people. The massacre at Wounded Knee in 1890, where hundreds of Lakota were killed by U.S. troops, marked the end of the Lakota's resistance and the final blow to their traditional way of life. However, the Lakota's legacy is far from gone. Today, the Lakota continue to honor their warrior traditions and cultural practices, and they remain one of the most prominent Native American tribes in the United States. The Crow, often referred to as the Apsaluk or children of the large-beaked bird, were a tribe with a profound connection to the land around the Yellowstone River. They were known for their warrior culture, highly skilled horsemanship, and their resistance against other tribes and European settlers. The Crow were excellent horsemen, and their skill on horseback gave them a distinct advantage in battle. They also had a strong sense of honor and bravery, with warriors often engaging in counting coup, which involved touching an enemy without causing harm as a display of bravery. Their warfare tactics were based on quick, strategic strikes, often in the form of surprise raids on enemies or settlers. The Crow also formed alliances with the U.S. military, providing intelligence and support during the Indian Wars. Chief Plenty Copes was one of the most famous Crow leaders, known for his wisdom and his role in leading the tribe through difficult times. Despite their cooperation with the U.S. military, the Crow faced pressure to adapt to new ways of life. However, they remained resilient and proud of their cultural traditions, and many Crow still live in the region today, continuing to honor their warrior traditions. The Mohawk, part of the Iroquois Confederacy, were known for their strategic location near the St. Lawrence River, which made them both powerful and influential in the Northeast. Their strength lay in their ability to protect their lands and form alliances. The Mohawk were skilled in warfare, and their warriors were known for their ability to move swiftly through forests, using guerrilla tactics to ambush enemies. Their style of fighting was not based on direct confrontation, but rather on strategic attacks that disoriented and overwhelmed their opponents. Their alliance with the French during the colonial period helped them maintain their power and protect their lands. The Mohawk also played a crucial role in the American Revolution, where they sided with the British to resist American expansion. Over the years, the Mohawk tribe adapted to changing circumstances, including European contact and internal divisions within the Iroquois Confederacy. Despite challenges, the Mohawk have remained strong, and today, they continue to be leaders within the Iroquois Confederacy, known for their political activism and cultural resilience. The Iroquois Confederacy, or the Haudenosaunee, was a powerful alliance of several Native American tribes, including the Mohawk, Seneca, Oneida, Cayuga, Onondaga, and later the Tuscarora. They are famous for their sophisticated political system and military alliances. The Iroquois Confederacy was based on the Great Law of Peace, which created a unified government that promoted peace, unity, and mutual support among the tribes. The Confederacy's political system is often viewed as one of the first forms of democracy in North America, and it significantly influenced the development of the U.S. Constitution. The Iroquois were not just warriors but diplomats. They were masters of negotiation, skillfully forging alliances and treaties with both European settlers and other tribes. Their ability to maintain balance and peace within the Confederacy contributed to their longevity and power. The Iroquois were expert warriors who utilized both conventional and guerrilla tactics. They were particularly skilled in ambush, making them a formidable force during the French and Indian War, as well as the American Revolution. Their ability to fight effectively in the dense forests of the Northeast made them challenging adversaries for European settlers. The Seminole tribe, native to Florida, are famous for their resistance against U.S. forces during the Seminole Wars, known for their guerrilla tactics and their ability to survive in the swamps. They became one of the most resilient and tenacious tribes in American history. The Seminole Wars were a series of conflicts between the Seminole tribe and the U.S. government. During these wars, the Seminole demonstrated exceptional skill in using the swampy terrain to their advantage. Their ability to move through the Everglades undetected made them a constant threat to U.S. forces. Despite being forced into reservations, the Seminole tribe continues to thrive. Their persistence and their battle for sovereignty remain an important part of their identity. Today, they are known not only for their warrior culture, but also for their leadership in business and cultural preservation. The Nez Perce tribe is known for their incredible resistance during the Nez Perce War of 1877, led by Chief Joseph. The tribe's resilience in the face of overwhelming odds has made them a symbol of bravery in American history. Chief Joseph's leadership during the Nez Perce War was legendary. His strategic retreats through the rugged landscapes of the Pacific Northwest demonstrated his brilliance as a military strategist. He led his people on a journey to escape to Canada, avoiding capture by U.S. forces for months. His surrender in 1877, marked by the famous words, "I will fight no more forever," symbolized the tragic end of their resistance. Though the Nez Perce were eventually defeated, Chief Joseph's legacy endures. His plea for peace and his fight for the survival of his people resonate as a reminder of the Native American struggle for autonomy. Today, the Nez Perce continue to honor their history and culture, and Chief Joseph remains an iconic figure in Native American history. The Cherokee, one of the largest and most influential tribes in the southeastern United States, are known for their advanced culture and their tragic history, particularly the forced relocation known as the Trail of Tears. The Cherokee were an advanced civilization with their own written language, government, and agricultural system. They were one of the first tribes to adopt European farming practices and develop a written constitution. This progressive attitude helped them thrive before European settlers encroached on their land. However, the Cherokees' advancements were overshadowed by the tragic events of the Trail of Tears. In the 1830s, the U.S. government forced the Cherokee to move from their ancestral lands to Indian Territory and present-day Oklahoma. Thousands of Cherokee died from disease, starvation, and harsh conditions during the journey. Despite this, the Cherokee have persevered. Today, they are one of the most successful Native American tribes with a large population and a thriving cultural presence. The history of Native American tribes is one of strength, resilience, and courage. Each tribe, whether the Apache, Sioux, Cheyenne, Comanche, or others, has a rich cultural heritage that is steeped in both beauty and struggle. From their warrior traditions and survival skills to their battles for land and sovereignty, these tribes have left an indelible mark on the history of North America. Their stories are not just of the past, but of ongoing survival and resistance, reminding us of the importance of honoring history, culture, and the unyielding spirit of these remarkable people.